morning students. Today we'll start with EVS standard 3. Okay, take out your books. Everyone, you have to take your books out and you have to keep a pencil also along with you. We'll start with the first lesson, our environment, page number 1. Everyone, you have to take your books out, and as I am reading you also have to pay attention. Okay, first page number 1, we'll start reading. I'll go on reading and I'll explain you. Look at the pictures alongside. You can easily name all these things. What materials are they made from? Where do we find these materials? And what are the uses of things? We have just started with the lesson, and in this paragraph there is nothing given. They have been just told that you can look at these pictures of what thing they have been made, for what we use it, and what are their names. Only that much. Next, you can also name these things also. Where can we find them and what they are used for? We'll start now actually with the lesson. See, there is a picture given here, and below this paragraph, this is all the information that you can see here. We'll just read it once. There are many things around us. They form our environment. There are many things around us. Whatever we can see all the man-made things, all the natural things, the trees, the birds, the river, the lake, see, the houses, mountain, sky. They all together form our environment. There are stones, rocks, soil, there are rivers, streams and lakes. There is also air. Also, there are hills and mountains. We can all see hills and mountains also from your house also, right? There are also jungles, there are fields, houses, roads, and also barren land. Barren land means the land which is just like this. There is nothing grown on it, or there are no houses, nothing on it. No construction is done on it, no land, nothing is done on it, cultivation. The land is just being like that. We also see many different animals also around us, correct? Different types of trees and bushes, climbers make our environment beautiful. Whenever we go out, we can see many different types of trees, small plants. All they are not same. So, somewhere you can see different, and now as it is rainy season, everywhere you can see different types of plants and different types of trees. What do? They all together make our environment look so beautiful, correct? Looking at all these trees and plants and all, we look very good. We like the greenery. We too are a part of this environment, correct? This is correct. We also are living in this environment, so we are also a part of this environment. Understood this paragraph? There is nothing given. This just they have shown us the picture, what is around us and what is present in the environment, and that only it is written in this paragraph. Okay. Now we'll go to page number 2. Everyone, you have to turn your page along with me. Now, a sparrow and a roadside stone. Let us look at a stone and a sparrow in the surroundings and compare them. You can all remember now. Take a stone, think of a stone and a sparrow. A stone remains where it is. Its place changes only if someone picks it up and moves it. It does not eat, so it does not grow bigger. It does not have babies either. See, you have seen stone. It doesn't move on its own, correct? If we pick up the stone from one place to another, then only it can change its place, right? It does not eat anything because it's a non-living thing. Stone is a non-living thing. It does not eat anything, so it does not grow. It remains at the same size, correct? You have all seen stone. If we pick it up from one place to another, then only it moves from its place. It cannot move by itself. It cannot eat. It does not grow bigger, and it cannot have also babies, right? And this is not the same with sparrows. Whatever things we observe in the stone, like it cannot move, it does not eat, it does not grow, it does not have babies, because it's a non-living thing. But these things we can't see in the sparrow. What can we see in the sparrow? We'll see it now. The sparrow built their nest. We have all seen, many of us have seen that sparrows and even different birds, they build their own nest. We have all seen that, sometimes building them, sometimes they make it also in a house also. They move here and there on their own. We all know they can fly with their wings, they can also walk with their legs, they build their nest, they can move here and there. They eat insects and grains. Sparrows, they eat very small insects and the grains. Grains also which are small in size, not the bigger one. That is why they grow. The sparrows, they eat, that is why they grow. Whatever thing we eat, we grow up. They lay eggs in their nests. We have all seen eggs. Sparrows lay eggs in their nest, which is their house. Little sparrows hatch from these eggs. Sparrows take a lot of care of their young ones. When the sparrow, baby sparrow inside the egg, it is fully grown, then it hatches the egg. Hatches the egg means it breaks the egg and it comes out. And whenever it comes out, the mummy sparrow, it takes lot of care of that baby. Like our mamas take care of us, correct? Now, why do we see these differences between the sparrow and the stone? The sparrow is a living thing and the stone is a non-living thing. Like I have told you now, the stone is a non-living thing, that's why it cannot move from one to other place, or nor it can eat food, correct? And sparrow is a living thing, so it eats food, it grows up, it gives birth to their babies. Things in our surrounding form two groups. The things that everything, whatever we can see around us, like now you can see me, you can see this pencil, you can see this book, you can see this blackboard, everything correct? But what is this? From all these things only I am a living thing. So I can talk, I can move from here and there, I eat food, I can grow. But the pencil, the book in my hand and the board, it remains at the same place. Only the book, if I take it in my hand and I put it here, then only it can move from one place to another. Or else, if I keep it here, can it come again in my hand? No, because it's a non-living thing. If I will take it up and keep it in my hand, then only it can change its place. So, you have understood that living things move from one place to another, they also grow, they eat food, and they also give birth to their young ones. As if the non-living things, they do not move anywhere. Living things are of two kinds, plants and animals. Now we have seen that the surrounding is divided in two things, that is the living thing and the non-living things. And again, now we will see the living things first. Living things are also divided in two parts, that is the plants and the animals. Plants we all know, we have seen many around us, plants and animals. Animals have babies and seedlings grow from the seeds. What is the difference between the animals and the plants? Animals have babies, correct? Animals give birth to their young ones, and the plants they grow from the seed. You have seen seed everywhere. Seed, the plants grow from the seed. The seedlings then grow into plants. This tells us that plants are living things. See, in an open ground, if you sow a seed, it will, after some days, when you take care proper of it, you put water, then it will grow into a small plant. Correct? How is that? This is your land, and if you put a seed inside it and you put water, then after some days there is a small leaf coming out, a small stem coming out. Correct? And after few days it is grown into a big plant. Correct? Plants too move. For example, when a bud blooms into a flower, its petals open, but movements of plants are not seen easily. Plants also need food. They also need food to eat. But what? Do they eat food like us? No. They take in the air, they take all the nutritional proteins from the air present around it, from the water, from the sun, correct? That is their food. Of course, plants do not move from place to place like animals do. you will see it in the same place. That is what that plants do not move from place to place like animals. Their roots hold them down in one place. The roots that are present under the soil, what did they do? They don't let it move from here and there, and it gives a strong support for it to stand on one place. There is a big difference between plants and animals. As we all have seen now, plants and animals, some things are common but some things are not. Then too they both are living things. Correct? See, you can see here things in our surrounding. One is living thing, non-living thing, and living things are divided into two things, that is animals and plants. Now we'll go to page number 3. Can you tell, are these things in the pictures living or non-living? If it is living thing, is it a plant or an animal? See the picture given here. You have to tell from this which one is a living thing and which one is a non-living thing. And if it is a living thing, what is it? Is it an animal or is it a plant? So first one, is this a living tree? Yes, tree is a living thing and it is a plant. You have to write that plant. Second is, this is also a coconut tree. The coconut tree is also a living thing. So this is a plant. Next is a rabbit. Rabbit is also a living thing and it is a animal. Next is a frog. A frog is also a living thing and it is an animal. The next one is a gas cylinder. Is it a living thing? No. It does not eat food. It does not move from one place to another. It does not give birth to the young ones. So it is a non-living thing. Next is a glass of water. See, you can see a glass of water. If you keep it in one place, it cannot move from one place to another, right? It cannot eat food, correct? So that is also a non-living thing. This is a plant. This is a rose plant. Is it a living thing? Yes, it is a living thing because it is grown from a seed, and just it is a living thing, but it cannot move from one place to another because, as I have told you, see, the roots of the plants hold them and make them stand in one place. So this plant is a living thing. Next is a kadhai. This is also a non-living thing because it cannot move from one place to another, nor it gives birth to the young ones, or nor it eats food. So you have understood what is living thing and non-living thing? Okay. Now we will see the next, the relation between all things in the environment. Water and air are a part of our environment. We all know that without water and without air we cannot live. So these two things are also a part of our environment. All living things need them. Each and every living being or each and every living thing needs water and air to survive. Living things also need food. They get their food from the environment. Whatever living things need to survive, they get from their environment. Whatever we get from the environment. We get water, we get air, we get food, everything. Birds build nests, as we have seen now. They need cotton, twigs and threads to build them. They get these things from the environment, correct? Whatever bird needs to build for the nest, they get everything from the environment. You can see the picture over here. And many of us have also seen many birds building nests, whatever they use. So this is the picture. Now we'll go to page number 4. I'll start reading with the first line. Human beings use so many things from the environment. We human beings, we get many things from the environment and we use each and everything that we get from the environment. We get cotton, we get wool and also silk from the environment. And using all these three materials, we weave cloth. We make cloth out of them, which we wear them. We make things like mats, baskets, paper from the materials that we get from the environment. We build houses using the clay and the stone and wood. These materials too we get from the environment. Where do we get from? The clay, the stone and the wood. Do we grow them? No, we all get it naturally from the environment. The seeds of some plants are scattered by the wind. See here, every plant has a seed in it. What do they have? They have small seeds in it. And whenever wind comes, the seeds fall off to the ground. Correct? The seeds fall from the plant to the ground and another plant is grown there. Whenever the wind blows, the seeds of a plant are thrown down. They come down by the pressure of the wind and new plants are formed there. Thus, plants too get help from the environment. This helps plant to move from one place to another. Living things take many things from the environment. What effect does that have on the environment? We'll just see now. Animals like vultures and foxes eat the flesh of dead animals. Animals and foxes, what do they eat? They eat other animals, other dead animals. They are dependent on other dead animals for their food. Thus, they clean the environment while they satisfy their hunger. By doing this, vultures and foxes, when they eat the dead animals, what do? They help our environment to get dirty. By getting dirty, they help the environment to clean it. They clean. How do they clean? Because they eat all the dead animals. What do dead animals can do? They can they can make dirty smell around us, or they can also pollute the environment. So what do the vultures and foxes do? They help to clean our environment by eating all the dead animals. Remains of dead animals decay. Decay means they get spoiled and they also spoil the environment along with it. They mix with the soil. Leaves fall off the trees, they too rot and get mixed in the soil. When we see many trees around us, all their leaves fall down. And what do? Sometimes we clean it. We clean it with a sweep and we put it in the dustbin. But mostly they all go into the soil. And what does happen? This makes the soil fertile. It makes the soil very good. Plants get nourishment from fertile soil. Plants also get their food from this fertile soil. Thus, living things bring about changes in non-living things too. This is the reason that living things also bring changes in non-living things. Now see, we have finished with page number 4. Now we'll see page number 5. There's a picture given of the sheep. We'll just see what there's written. A sheep's body is covered with wool. We all have seen, where do we get the wool from? We get the wool from the sheep. The sheep is covered every time with wool. The sheep feeds on leaves of the shrubs. See the small shrubs. What do this sheep eat? The sheep eats the leaves of these shrubs. As it does so, the seeds of some shrubs can get caught in this wool. When it goes to eat these shrubs, see, you can see this, the seed, it gets attached with the wool. It gets attached in the wool on the sheep's body. When the sheep goes somewhere else, the seed may fall off there. Thus the sheep helps new seedling of the shrub to grow in many places. Whenever it goes to a particular place, when the sheep goes to a particular place to eat the leaves of the shrubs, what happens? Sometimes some seeds fall on its body and it gets stuck with the wool present on its body. And as the sheep walks, what does it happen? That the seeds, sometimes when it has eaten the seeds, the leaves from this place and it goes to there. If the seed which is attached on its back falls down there, then there we can see a new shrub. This is how the sheep also helps the seedlings to grow from one place to another. In this way, the sheep, which is an animal, and the shrub, which is a plant, help each other. The sheep helps the shrub to carry the seeds from one place to another, and the shrub helps the sheep to fill his stomach. It is his food. So now we have finished with the lesson. We'll just recall our points which we have seen in this lesson with this yellow box. I am reading it. What we have learned in this lesson, we'll just take the highlight points. There are many things in our environment. Some of them are living things and some of them are non-living things, as I have explained you. Living things can move on their own. Living things, they can move on their own. They don't need anyone's help to move from here and there. Living things need food. Food helps them to grow. As we all know, we also need food and food helps us to grow. Living things are of two kinds, plants and animals. Living things get all they need from the environment. We get everything that we need, we get it from the environment. Living things bring about changes in non-living things also. All things in the environment depend upon each other. Everyone in this environment is dependent on each other, as we have seen an example now of the sheep and the shrub of that plant. See, we will also read this paragraph. Always remember that the needs of all the living things are fulfilled by things in the environment. All are things which we need, which is compulsory for our body. All these things are fulfilled, are completed by whom? By the environment. Such things should not be allowed to go waste. We must take care that we do not cause any harm to the environment. As we get many useful things from the environment which help us to live, so we should take care of the environment and we should not waste it. Now we have finished with the lesson. I hope you have understood the lesson, and the homework that is on page number 6. All the question answers that are given here, this will be provided to you in the end of this video, and I assure you that every student should complete their notebook. You have to write all these question answers in your notebook. You have to revise, you have to learn it, and again you have to read the lesson. Any problems, you can go back to the video and clear all your doubts. And if you have any doubt from whatever number you have received the link, you can call on that number anytime.